Downtown, Chewy. Good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez, resuming the criminal docket for the 210th District Court for February 8th, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live, excuse me, via YouTube. Eric, are you good to go? I just assume with your picture there, you're good. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. All righty. And so I think we were going to take care of downtown first, Chewy. Who is that?
Yes, Judge. That's Mario Reese. I'm setting up the interpreter, Judge.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Good afternoon. And Chewy, when we get back to the annex, I think we'll leave the plea for last, okay?
Yes, Judge.
Assuming we have.
One second.
Hi, Mr. Cifuentes.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Sí me pueden escuchar bien?
I can.
Sí. Okay.
We're just setting up the interpreter function.
Lee, you want to try it, Mr. Cifuentes?
Sí, claro. Pero I don't see it just yet.
Yeah, I don't see it either. There it is.
The thing is that you put me as a participant instead of an interpreter. Can we try it again?
Give me.
Ay, porfa, tocayo.
Ms. King, are you handling this bond hearing?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
I just was testing if I could hear you. Yeah, it's been a minute since we used. Oh,
Yeah, I don't get invited to this court very often. I know how it is. I know. There we go. But is the person at downtown?
okay. Unmute, mute. All right.
Yes, downtown.
¿Español?
Sí, perfecto.
Yes.
Sí.
Julia, are you on the English channel?
Yes,
Está
ma'am.
bien.
I can hear you, Mr. Cifuentes. I just didn't know, Miss Martin.
Can you hear
you
me,
say
Your
something?
Honor?
Yeah, I don't hear Miss Martin.
Okay.
So if you'll select the English.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, let's get started. Go ahead, Chewy.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2022-020-0154. State of Texas versus Mario Luis Reese. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Julia Martin, on behalf of Mr. Ruiz, Your Honor, ready to proceed.
And Mr. Reese is appearing from the downtown jail remotely. He's also utilizing the assistance of our court interpreter, Mr. Cifuentes. Ms. Martin, we're scheduled for a bond hearing today. You may proceed.
Your Honor, the bond is set at $500 according to the access that we have in our office to what the bond amounts are. It is a low amount, but it is even unattainable for Mr. Ruiz. He is a United States citizen. I do want the court to be aware that he did go to school in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. He did not finish. He does not have a GED, Your Honor. He did attend the El Paso Job Corps for 1.5 years. He tells me that he can work general construction, yard work. Actually, manual labor is what he can do. He has 3 children, ages 11, 8, and 3. Regrettably, he has lost contact with the children. He did have 2 prior bond hearings at the JMAG, and one of the issues was that my client did not have an email address. He now informs me that he has 2 of them, Your Honor, and he can provide those to the court, or I can provide them to the court. And he understands that if he is released on PR bond, he needs to comply with all that is required of him. He, I believe, was out on PR bond, and then he picked up a new offense of a criminal trespass, and that is why we are here, Your Honor, because of that new offense. So we would respectfully request that he be released on PR bond.
Does he live in El Paso or does he live in Juarez? Yeah.
He tells me he lives here in El Paso, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know how long he's lived here? What family he has here? Anything like that?
I didn't ask him that. If I may, Your Honor, call Mr. Ruiz to the stand.
Sure. Mr. Reese, your attorney's going to be asking you questions regarding your bond only. If don't talk about the cases. I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Juro.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ruiz, where would you be living in El Paso if you are released?
Tengo un lugar en un lugar que está aquí por la Alameda, se llama el Salvation Army. Ahí es donde tengo una cama, es la número 17. Puedo llegar allí y pues, es donde me está quedando. Está por el Coliseo.
Would that be 7154 Alameda?
Ahí es donde recibo correspondencia.
I'm sorry about that. I asked him to hold all calls. I apologize.
No worries. If you just repeat the question, Julia.
Where would you be residing, sir?
En el Salvation Army es donde me quedo en las noches. Es un lugar que está por el Coliseo, es un shelter. Allí pues, tengo que asistir allí.
Do you have any family here in El Paso?
Sí, pero no los frecuento porque como ellos tienen la vida, pues los fines de semana se van para Juárez y vienen y yo no cruzo para Juárez. Yo nomás estoy aquí en El Paso, casi no los visito y como yo ando a pie, no tengo en qué moverme, pues siempre ando cerca del shelter aquí en el downtown.
You understand that if you are released, you cannot go to Ciudad Juárez.
Sí, perfecto, de todos modos, no voy para allá.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Okay. Ms. King?
Your Honor, the state respectfully oppose the bond reduction. So a little criminal history we have is January 2020, we have a conviction, 30 days confinement for resisting arrest. April 2020, we have theft under 750, 30 days confinement. We have another April 2020, criminal trespass, 30 days confinement. April 2020, we have resisting 30 days confinement. June 2020, we have 50 days confinement conviction for theft, that is state jail felony. Now we have 2010 importing a quantity of marijuana that he received and was actually revoked multiple times. Initially, he was placed on 60 months probation. Then in 2012, probation violations, he was sentenced to 9 months. In 2014, probation revocation, 3 months. 2015, probation revocation again. 2016, 2018. We do have a January 2021 violation of protective order that was dismissed. Also, this incident actually arose by having officers were dispatched from the fire department while they were conducting an arson investigation. They noticed the defendant to be suspicious and hiding behind the tree and keep on going back to the incident of where that fire occurred. And that is an ongoing investigation in that case. Also, he was denied the bond because there is no way to get a hold of him, according to my notes that I have in my system.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Martin?
I may respond. He has 2 email addresses, Mrs. King, where he can be reached. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Is there, his bond is 500 cash surety. Is there a PR component already, or did they not attach a PR component?
They haven't attached anything to it, Your Honor. It's my understanding.
Yeah.
Your Honor, the bond is actually 1,000, not 500. And slight difference, I know, but
That,
it's
you
a
know,
1,000 surety bond.
well, thank you, Mrs. Nieto, because I was also thinking it was 1,000. And my secretary, when they looked it up, he said that it was $500.
Mm.
You know,
So-
but I mean, I think it is 1,000, Your Honor.
Marissa, it's just a straight cash surety, 1,000, what's not split?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a $1,000 surety bond. I believe this is Judge Acosta's signature. I can't see his stamp on it, but it's off of a PR Revo.
And the PR Revo, what had happened? I'm sorry.
The affidavit says he committed criminal trespass on the 3rd of January, 2022. And that's all it says, just that one.
Okay, so no indication if he was otherwise compliant on PR bond, right?
No, because the only other thing on here just says that the defendant was under administrative supervision and is to report 1 day before each court date. Case is not indicted at this time. As per PR bond conditions, defendant was not to commit any new offenses, though was arrested for the above named offense. So I don't think he was supposed to report.
Right, because there was no case. Okay. And so with that still, Julia, the request for reduction is going to be denied because of the prior criminal history. And the bond's going to stay at $1,000. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Be excused.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll wait
Mr.
for my plea in a little bit.
Okay. Do we need the interpreter, Mr. Cifuentes? Do we need him for any other case?
No one else has indicated, Judge, that they need an interpreter.
Okay. Is anybody there who needs an
Sí, dime,
interpreter? Last
Mr.
call,
Thank
for
you.
Mr. Cifuentes.
Sí me dieron.
I'm not hearing anyone. Actually, let me get on the regular. I'm not hearing anybody needs an interpreter. So, Mr. Cifuentes, good to see you as always. Thank you for your assistance today. All right, Chewy, who's next?
Annex, if we could get Fabian Gallardo. Fabian Gallardo, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to take some notes before we do the Andrade plea, Chewy. So before we get to that one, I failed to take notes on that one. All right.
Okay, good.
So, Mr. Carmona, did you cancel all your spring break plans? Did you negotiate
I did
that
not,
situation?
Judge. I did not.
All right, let's get started, Chewy.
Yes, Judge. Cause number 2020-0D05746. Cause number 2021-0D01564. Cause number 2021-0D01343. State of Texas versus Fabian Gallardo Jr. Announcement of council, please.
Ashley Martinez, ready for the state of Texas on all cases.
Omar Carmona on behalf of Fabian Gallardo. Ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Gallardo is appearing from the jail annex. I'm sorry, I as this was an add-on, what are we set for today? Are we set for a final hearing plea deadline?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And what are our future trial dates beyond February 14th?
I think 317 and 318, Your Honor.
And that's the only one I put. I didn't give you the April backup or the May backup to the
No, ma'am.
backup. All right. So how about a little update? Obviously, well, I don't know. I'm just going off the idea that this is a trial. Are we still there?
Yeah.
That's correct,
Yes, Your
Your
Honor.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. I was hoping we could work it out. Last I spoke to Mr. Gallardo, he wants a jury trial, Judge.
Okay. Have you filed a motion for continuance on the March trial date, Mr. Carmona?
I will, Judge. Unfortunately, that's the one, those are the 2 weeks that I will not be able to make it. I am pretty much available for any other time. But unfortunately, that was just, that's been planned since last year. And I'm just not gonna be able to make that particular date.
Offhand, and your client's aware of that, right? Offhand, Ms. Martinez, are you opposing that request for continuance?
No, ma'am. And actually, I wanted to let the court know that we do have at least 2 out-of-town witnesses. They would need just about 2 weeks' notice. So maybe could we specially set it? If not, that's okay. We'll figure it out with flight plans and all that. But 2 witnesses do live in De Leon, Texas.
Okay, so let me go back. We need to schedule it for the April trial setting. What's the April? Is it 7th and 8th? April 7th and 8th?
Those are the dates you gave before, Judge. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if those are when we have our next set of panels, then anticipate that motion for continuance, as long as it's unopposed, will be granted, and we'll go to the April 7th and 8th trial settings. We'll have our final hearing plea deadline before that. And same setup, assuming things don't change, we'll have all the panels, the 4 panels, the way we would do it. All right. If anything requires a hearing before that, please let us know so we can schedule it. Okay.
Your Honor, may
Your Honor, go on. Sorry,
sorry, Omar, go ahead.
I was just going to let both Ms. Martinez and Your Honor know that I will be asking for at least one more bond hearing. I understand the court's position in the past prior to the next trial date, Your Honor.
Sounds good. Send us your motion and request for hearing. Thank you very much.
Your Honor, may I put a couple of things on the record?
Yes, ma'am.
The one is the last recommendation that I did discuss with the chief of the court. It's 10 years probation on one case, the violation of protective order, and then 5 TDC on the cause number ending in 1343. So that is the current rec. And the other thing, just a housekeeping matter, I will be dismissing the cause number ending in 5746 because that was re-indicted into the other continuous ending in 1343 to add the last assault family violence. So that's just a housekeeping matter, but I'll send you the dismissal today, Your Honor.
Okay.
Do I need to send also the motion to carry over in writing, or may I do that in orally?
I go ahead and do it in writing just so we have it.
Okay. And I did let Mr. Carmona know last week I was going to do these things.
Yes, she did. She did. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be
Thank you, Your Honor.
excused?
You may. Thanks.
May I be excused, Judge? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, if we could get Daniel Bias.
Yes, sir.
Daniel Bias, please.
Reyes?
Mr. Bias, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Chewy, go ahead.
Judge, it's cause number 2019-0D0-4292, State of Texas versus Daniel Bias. Announcement to council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Jim Darnell for Daniel Bias.
And Mr. Bias is appearing from the jail annex. We did have this down for a final hearing plea deadline, and despite my absolute desire to get this case moving, lo and behold, COVID has gotten in the way again. And so we're canceled out. Have we sorry, I'm getting messages here. Have we had any movement on negotiations?
We have had some, Your Honor, and just so the court will know, Eddie Lerma had filed a motion to substitute for me. We just filed yesterday. I tried to get in touch with him so he would know about this hearing, but have been unable to get in touch with him.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have been in a very long road to negotiate on this case. I was assigned to your court in December 20 of 2021. I actually was introduced to the victim's family on January 7, 2022 via Zoom. I met with the victim's father's side on January 14, 2022 to discuss a plea. And then I also met with both sides of the family on January 24, 2022 to discuss a possibility of the family initially asked for 40 TDC, if we can work with 35 TDC. And we communicated that the family, that's the lowest they can go for, is 35 with what how long this case has been dragging on and the facts of this case. We communicated that with Mr. Darnell. That was on January 2021, then January 24, 2021. That's when we received the answer from the family, January 26, 2022. Mr. Darnell said that he will talk to his client. January 28, 2022. We called again, Mr. Darnell. He didn't have the time to talk just yet. February 4th, 2022, we contacted Mr. Darnell again. And then February 7, 2022, we contacted Mr. Darnell and was informed that the defendant will not take 35. So as of right now, I have actually pulled the rec of any rec, 35, and we are going to proceed to trial. And this is going to be the fourth counsel that is getting appointed on this case, and it's starting to become a tactic by time.
So, yeah. I don't believe Mr. Darnell or previous counsel, he may have initially had a court-appointed attorney, but I believe all the attorneys have been retained. And so my question, Mr. Darnell, I have not seen the motion to substitute. I guess it's not been forwarded and Mr. Lerma is not here. So until I actually have Mr. Lerma here and see that motion, let me just ask you, Mr. Darnell, I don't recall there ever being anything that was outstanding in terms of anything requiring a hearing. Evidence is complete. Everything is basically ready to go to dispose of this case one way or another. Am I correct in that?
For the most part, yes, Your Honor. There's some things obviously we would need to get with the DA's office to go over evidence, but I think the evidence is all available.
Your Honor, everything that I know of is on portal. We have, I've gone through the evidence very thoroughly. We are meeting with the witnesses. Right now, we do have a March 17 and 18 as the jury trial. The state is ready to proceed, and should Mr. Darnell or Mr. Lerma file for continuance, the state is going to oppose to the continuance.
Well, and I recall, I think it was back in December, maybe even November, Mr. Ferguson from your office was handling this case. And I'm not sure, well, I think I do know what the holdup is, but without Mr. Lerma being here, if you see that motion to substitute, Sandy, is actually filed, we're going to set it for a hearing Thursday at 10 a.m. Mr. Lerma is to appear. Mr. Darnell, I'm going to ask that you be here as well. This has been dragging on, and Mr. Baez keeps switching attorneys, it seems like. And this case is ready to go to trial. I don't know if there's some inspection that needed to be done. If that was the case, I certainly would have expected it to have been done by now, because if we're not knowing that Mr. Lerma is going to sub in until late January, that's 2 months where I don't know that anything really happened. And so that's a concern. It's exactly what I was wanting to avoid when I was so sure we could go to trial this month. So we're coming back on Thursday, unless either, well, we're setting it that day. If once Mr. Lerma and Mr. Darnell are here, they are not inclined to waive Mr. Vias's presence, then we will move it to Tuesday, but I will expect attorneys to be here on Thursday. I mean, if Mr. Lerma's in, Mr. Darnell, so be it. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. And so I'm not changing that trial date. The trial date is going to stay.
Your Honor, the state is ready to move forward with this case.
Okay. So is the court. So no rec is off the table. I don't know. Have you had any contact, Ms. King, with Mr. Lerma?
I have not, no, Your Honor, just with Mr. Darnell.
Is there any way we can get in touch with Mr. Lerma today, to be here today? Sandy, can you try and make some phone calls?
Yes, ma'am. I'm emailing them right now also.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Darnell, I don't mind if you turn your camera off, if you can stick around in the background, if I can get Mr. Lerma here. Otherwise, we'll see you on Thursday, okay?
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Darnell. All right, let's go to the next one. Chuy, who's next?
Yes, Judge. Annex, if we can get Abel Olivas, Abel, on page 5, Judge.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Olivas, Mr. Gonzalez. Okay, go ahead, Chuy.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2021-0D02388, State of Texas versus Abel Olivas. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Anthony Gonzalez on behalf of Mr. Olivas, Your Honor. We're ready to proceed.
And Mr. Olivas is appearing from the jail annex. We're set for a bond hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gonzalez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Olivas was having some difficulty contacting me earlier on, and also PR bond. So I think what happened was PR couldn't reach him, so they decided that they would pull the bond, and his current bond is set at $100,000. I had sent him a letter because I also could not reach him, telling him that we had a hearing. Unfortunately, he got that letter after the hearing, and then got a ride and was on his way to El Paso from Carlsbad, New Mexico, where he resides. Well, he was speeding. He got picked up and he wound up in the county jail. That's why you see him where he is right now. They just moved him to the annex, I think, 2 days ago. Well, here's the interesting thing about this case, Judge. I had set it for a motion to reduce bond. Last week, Friday, we had a hearing on this case, and Ms. King was kind enough to make this offer. She said, Mr. Gonzalez, if your client will provide 2 clean UAs, then we'll dismiss the case. I explained that to my client at the annex a couple of days ago. So the idea here is that we need to get him out so he can provide 2 clean UAs, and the case will be dismissed. So I called his parents. His parents have about $500 between them. He is very impecunious. If I may give you a bit of background, 2 years ago he was he was working in oil and gas in Carlsbad, New Mexico. He unfortunately went through a divorce. That divorce messed him up really bad mentally, and he began just to decline. He was involved in a little bit of alcohol and just couldn't get out of it. He has 4 children, and the oil and gas thing went down because of COVID. But he tells me now that he can return. It looks like he can be gainfully employed right now. He was also trying to become a welder. So I'm just giving you a little bit of background on the man. I think the fact that he didn't make it to El Paso was because he didn't get notice, although he was told that he needed to contact PR. And I also asked him to contact me from time to time. It didn't happen. I asked him why not. He said, Mr. Gonzalez, I'm so poor I didn't even have a phone. I tend to believe him. But bottom line, Judge, is if we can get him out of jail and he can get 2 clean UAs to Ms. King, I think she'll honor the rec that she made and dismiss the case.
Let me ask, while he was on PR bond, and was he given permission to be in Carlsbad?
You know what, Judge? I was appointed after, so I'm assuming he was given permission to live in Carlsbad, but I wouldn't know that offhand.
Okay, Ms. King, go ahead.
I didn't work on that bond myself.
Okay.
Your Honor, the state is not opposing to reduction of bond. Initially, this was a rec by the previous IDA for a PTD felony, but after actually going through the details of the case, I went ahead and offered a 2 clean UAs for dismissal.
Marissa or Ms. King, if you can see it, in terms of the PR revo, does it indicate that he, or what was his performance, or what are they alleging on the PR revo?
On the PR revo, the affidavit, it just says that he failed to show up for orientation.
Does it say
And
a date,
also,
Marissa?
yes, failed to report to the pretrial bond office since release from EPCDF on 11/17/21.
So just never did it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Was driving, was he, or who was driving? Why, this me. Oh. Okay, what's the criminal history like?
Your Honor, there is not a criminal history. This did involve a co-defendant that was driving, and this is how this incident occurred. And the co-defendant, actually, she's the one who states that the drugs belong to her, and she actually fled the incident.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and grant the request for a full PR bond. There'll be a $5,000 PR bond. He is to report weekly. He is to remain in El Paso County. He may not change his place of residence without court permission.
Your Honor, may I address that very quickly?
Mm-hmm.
He has absolutely no place to live in El Paso County. But here, I called his father yesterday. His father knows what's going on. His father said, I'd be more than happy to come pick him up. And I would be more than happy to make sure that he gets those 2 UAs as quickly as possible. He's waiting for my call now. If I call him, he will come here tomorrow. Hopefully the PR bond will go through by then. Everything will be signed. His father can pick him up, take him home. Judge, we'll have this thing done within a week. Miss King, is it okay if we do 2 in a row, 2 days in a row? Would that be okay with you?
Yes, that'll be fine.
Then Judge, we can have this case dismissed in a couple of days, if that's
And
okay.
that is where I was going with 30 days. I was going to say he has to do it in 30 days. But you think you can do it in 2 weeks? Great. So he'll have permission, but he will be reporting once a week. We're going to come back in 30 days. He's going to report by phone. He's going to be subject to curfew. He will be allowed to travel back to his residence, and he'll have 30 days. In 30 days, I'm going to review the bond again, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If we don't already have our dismissal, we're going to look at those conditions again. I don't normally like to have them out of El Paso County. I mean, when they're nearby, but I feel fairly certain with absolutely no performance on PR bond. I don't know. I'm not
Yes,
really
ma'am.
sure.
No
But I
problem, Judge. We'll get it done.
I'll take your word on it. Sandy, what's the next hearing though? Maybe we'll just go with the next hearing date.
Let me get that for you, Judge. I'm sorry.
It's March 24th.
Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah, no, we'll do 30 days. We'll come back in 30 days. Status. What I mean by that, really, right? Fingers crossed, everything happens great. We're not going to need it because we'll already have our dismissal.
Agreed, Judge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. May be excused.
You may. Thank you,
ma'am.
Mr. Olivas. Who's next, Chuy?
Okay, Judge, Prado. Annex, we can get Isaac Prado, please.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh, I know I read this case summary and I don't remember it at all. Okay. This is the one with the restitution. Okay. Go ahead, Chuy.
It's cause number 2016-020-2484, State of Texas versus Isaac Nathaniel Prado. Announcement of council.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
And Daniel Avila for Isaac Parado. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, and Mr. Prado is appearing from the jail annex. We are scheduled for a bond hearing. Mr. Aguilar, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. Your Honor, the issue in this case is going to be restitution. Mr. Prado is on probation for a theft. He was ordered to pay restitution. There was some non-reporting issues and failure to make the payment. When he was in custody, he made half the payment, and I think the court kind of had issue with that the last time around, back when we were here January 11th. Judge, I'm asking for a renewed bond hearing so that he can get back to work, get to his family, continue to pay the restitution. And he's been in custody for some time, Your Honor. The court at that time held a $75,000 cash surety bond. We reset the case for 30 days, and here we are, Your Honor. I'm respectfully requesting that he let go on a low bond, or in the alternative, some kind of a personal recognizance bond.
Okay. I think I misread the case summary. I understood it to mean that he had paid out the full restitution, but no, it's still outstanding. It's still remains the
That's
same.
correct, Judge. It is paid off.
Oh, it is paid off? Okay.
That's correct, Judge.
That's what I thought I read. When was that last payment? Is that the January 14th payment?
No, the last payment was paid on January 18th.
So there's zero restitution left. How much time does he have left on probation?
Until September 2022.
Right. So aside from the sketchy reporting history throughout probation, what remains outstanding in terms of his terms and conditions?
64 hours of community service.
What else?
That's pretty
That's
much
everything?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Aguilar, you're requesting a full PR bond and let him finish out his probation. Is that what you're asking for?
I think so, Judge. It was a substantial amount that he had to pay back.
Mhm.
I'm glad he did it. I know he had to spend a little bit of time in custody, but victims were made whole, and so I don't think I hear an opposition from the state. So,
Well, hold on. Ro is looking at me pretty and intently.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me, Ms. King.
Your Honor, I believe it's the defendant's mother who actually paid it. But besides that point, I'm just going to defer to the court. At this point, I mean, we do have a history of failing to report, but he does have criminal history. So at this point, the state will defer to the court.
Okay. Let me see. So Ms. Nieto is informing me although there is a motion, there's no capias. I don't know how that happened. He can be released to the streets instead of being placed on a PR bond. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let him serve out the remainder of his probation through September. Mr. Prado, we don't have any rearrests, right, Mr. Sanchez? Nothing like that.
No.
Just
No new offenses.
Okay. So he is, we'll just monitor him monthly, see how he proceeds. If there are any issues, Mr. Sanchez, let the court know immediately, okay?
Okay, sounds good, Judge.
All right, he's getting released, Mr. Aguilar.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Don't mess up, Mr. Prado.
Yeah,
Who's
Mr. Prado,
next?
please report. Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Judge. May be excused.
Thank you. Who's next, Chief?
Okay, Judge Sanchez.
Judge, is it okay if the court skips me on this one for a few minutes?
Sure.
I'm sorry about that.
Sure.
Go to Santana, Judge.
Okay.
Annex, if we could get Saul Santana, please.
Yes, sir.
Is this the gentleman? Let me see, Mr. Yanez, are you here? Oh, yeah. There he is.
I'm here, Judge.
Okay, I'm just trying to remember, is this the gentleman we had a bond hearing on not like 2 weeks ago? And it was like all going well, and then there was some information and everything went backwards for your client.
Yes,
huh?
ma'am. I'm not happy you remember, but that's okay.
Well, I don't see you that often, Mr. So when you're here, I was like, oh, there's that one guy. The one time you did, you are appearing. It's like, it went a bunch of different ways. All right, go ahead, Chewy.
Yes, Judge. Cause number 2016-000-0317. State of Texas versus Saul Santana. Announcement of council, please.
King for the state of Texas.
And Luis Yanez, on behalf of Mr. Santana, we're ready.
Okay, and Mr. Santana is appearing from the jail annex. Give me a second. Yeah. Didn't this involve a case from out of town where it was like a similar ag assault that we never really found out about, and all of a sudden while he was on probation, that's why I think I remember what was going on. All right, we're set
Yes,
for
it's actually
go ahead.
it's actually a marijuana case out of Odessa.
Okay, marijuana case out of Odessa. Okay. So what I did not see, Carla, if you're there, I'm not sure if there's another officer present. I'm getting so many messages and
Yes,
emails.
Judge. Lucia Mendoza is on here.
Okay, Miss Mendoza, are you there? And you're muted.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry. As I mentioned to the morning crowd, I'm operating remotely, and that means I don't really toggle through very many things because my computer will go crazy. If you would please indulge me in a abbreviated case summary and a recommendation for Mr. Santana.
Yes. Mr. Santana was placed on probation, Judge, September 2016 for the next 5 years. He has a history to be an absconder. There was a motion to revoke filed by Judge Gonzalo Garcia. He was arrested before he was placed on probation for on Kennedy County, Texas. And he was placed on probation, Your Honor. And the reason we're here, Your Honor, because he was picked up on the KPS motion to revoke due to be an absconder again. He failed to report for December 2020, May 2021, and July 2021, August 2021, through November 2021, until he got arrested on December 2nd for 2021. Alleging is that he failed to report plus probation fees and community service. And that's the reason we're here, Your Honor.
Okay. And the recommendation is what?
The recommendation, Your Honor, is for him to be extended for 1 year.
Okay, before I get to you, Mr. Yanez, Ms. King, do you have any input?
Yes, Your Honor. So he was actually placed for 5 years in 2016. So I believe he was, should have been done by now.
He's expired?
Sorry, Judge?
Has he expired?
Yes. And that's why the state's MTA is still pending. It was filed before the expiration. Judge, I think at this moment, it just, there was a pre-revo hearing set on May 2018, and a contested revocation was also set in 2018. So we keep on going back and forth. I think now it's just.
What is the state recommending in terms of time?
Let's see, Your Honor. It's going to be 2 TDC.
Okay. Mr. Yanez?
Yes, Your Honor. We would request that the prosecutor go along with the recommendation of the probation department, Your Honor, and we would gladly take that. However, I understand their position if they don't want to take it. I think
he's picking up new cases, and he's been very much not an ideal candidate for probation. So I'm less inclined to go that route, and 2 TDC sounds fine to me. He's already been on for a very long time with very poor performance. What's his criminal history prior to this this plea?
Your Honor, he does not. We do have two 2016 terrorist threat of family or household, but that was never actually screened. Other than that, I don't see anything else.
No other criminal history except our case and then the new drug case?
Correct.
Except for the Kennedy County, Texas charge.
I'm sorry?
In addition to the Kennedy, Texas case,
That's different from the drug case? I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood.
yes, for the drug case, the one there from Kennedy County, Texas, besides his aggravated assault that he's on probation for.
He only has two arrests ever, Judge, which is this case and the case, the drug case.
Okay. Ay. How long can we extend him?
He's on a second degree. And
So I believe
for
it's
5 years, he's to have 5 more years to be extended up to the 10-year deferred adjudication.
I'm sorry, Miss King, what was your, he doesn't have a huge criminal history. So he's got I don't know what's going to happen with his drug case, but that's not really, other than it being a violation of his probation, is not really my concern.
And Your Honor,
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't have history, so right off the bat, he's not complying with probation, and it's been a long time. He should have already completed probation. And we keep on going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
The state keeps on filing motions. Usually,
you want the time? That's what you're telling me.
I think it's to the point where we have tried too much, and we've been at this point multiple times throughout probation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, Mr. Yanez. So we have a revo date set for March 3rd. I don't know if you what you want to do. I'm at 2 TDC on this.
Okay, I'll convey the offer to my client, Judge. I'll go talk to him. And then if we are going to have a revo, I'm going to request that you push it back a little bit, Judge, so that I can file
Totally flexible on that. It's generally, our standard dates. We will revisit the timetable for that if we're at a contested revo, okay?
Thank you, Judge. Yes, I would have to file some affidavits of business records.
Sure. We'll give you the opportunity. Okay. All righty. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Yanez. Thank you, Mr. Santana. You may.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Mendoza. Who's next?
Judge Christopher Martel and Randy Martel.
Okay, go ahead.
And so we can get the Martel brothers, please. Yeah, they're going up.
Okay, so we have both. Okay, who's here? Is it Mr. Nunez? Are you?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, Tree, go ahead.
Your Honor, I was asked to cover the bond hearings for both Randy and Christopher Martel on behalf of Mr. Valenzuela and Mr. Spencer. And we are.
Hold on a second. Let us call the cases first, okay?
Yes, Judge. My apologies.
That's okay.
Call number 2021-000-0640, State of Texas versus Randy Alexander Martel. Cause number 2021-000-0641, State of Texas versus Christopher Rick Martel. Announcement of counsel, please.
Roa King for the State of Texas.
David Nunez on behalf of the defense. Defense is ready.
Okay, and you're standing in, Mr. Nunez, for both Mr. Spencer and Mr. Valenzuela, is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so we are scheduled for bond hearings in both of these cases, you were saying?
And Your Honor, well, I was asked to cover these bond hearings for both defendants, and we are respectfully asking the court if we could reset these bond hearings for the judges' conference currently set on March 8th.
Is that a Tuesday, 3 p.m. setting?
That is correct, Judge. I did verify that for the court.
Okay, no problem. We can have it set then. When is our trial setting?
I can pull that up right here, Judge. I have it.
It's April 8th as a back jury trial.
That's what I have as well, Judge.
Okay, so that should be the 7th and 8th, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll make sure that that's on there. It is, okay. All righty, then we'll see you at the next hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, get in touch with your attorneys. They've requested to continue this hearing, okay?
Thank you.
Who's next, Chewy? Do we have our two pleas? Is that what's left? Or do we have something else? Oh, we have one.
Danny Avilar, Judge.
Sure, let's do that one.
And if we can get Filimon Sanchez. Mr. Avilar, are you ready? Judge, I'm not sure if Mr. Avilar is ready just yet. He's not.
You know what? Let's take like just a 2-minute break. That'll give me a second to go back and review one of the pleas before we get there.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right after. Okay. Oh, Mr. Lerma's there. Okay, I'll be right back.
I apologize. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, Dan, give me a minute, please.
Sorry about that.
And then we will take care of Filimon Sanchez first, okay?